Hi, welcome in and good orange morning. And this is another episode of the Orange Morning Squeeze. In case if my voice sounds very deeper than usual, because that's basically my morning voice, and I'm just like a bit tired. Didn't really sleep very well because I just couldn't stand the heat and just didn't have really good quality sleep. So it was really hot last night, and I didn't even sleep with aircon, and I don't usually sleep with aircon usually, so um, I only sleep with aircon if I feel like I deserve it. So that's the whole point of my sleep quality. I feel like just a sleep quality wise, like it's always really very bad, and I don't really sleep very well, and like my girlfriend will always complain that like I snore also. I snore as well. So when we do have sleepovers, when I was over in Kota Kinabalu, she would often complain about my snoring, but she ended up sleeping easily and having a good quality sleep than me. So I easily get disturbed when I sleep as well. So if I do look very groggy, that's the reason why. And I only have about 6 hours of sleep. So yeah, and plus the weather these days is just not helping these days. Yeah. Yeah, welcome back to episode of the Orange Morning Squeeze. And I see you there, Xiaowen. Welcome in and good morning to you. Um, this is a talk show. It's supposed to be bi-weekly, but I haven't been honoring that promise. But I hope you guys still doesn't mind it. I try my best to make it as bi-weekly as possible. It's really hard not to make it bi-weekly. Um, as in, it's hard to make it bi-weekly because of my busy schedules, and as well as just me having so much commitments in general. Want to do it sometimes during my full-time job, but because I'm transiting to a new full-time job, so there's a few things that I need to settle on my end first, and I can only do it during my free time. So I wouldn't mind doing it just before I go for work, which we talked about that in, I think, the first ever, the pilot itself of this podcast, where we talk about um whether what time should we start work and what time should we end work and that kind of stuff. So I think those kind of episodes discussions are always great to have, and it's always nice to kind of see people's perspectives on what they feel about certain topics here and there. So the Orange Morning Squeeze is basically a so-called a bi-weekly show where we basically sit down here and also just to keep you guys company on your daily routines or your morning commute to work. But because today is Labor Day, which is the worst ever timing to do this. But, but, if you are here listening in to your morning, during your morning routine, I'm always still very appreciative of that. So yeah, I'm just like accompanying you guys and while just keeping you guys entertained while we just ramble on things that I have planned out, which is basically today's episode, which is about do you eat breakfast? It's a very simple topic, but of course it can divert to different things depending if you guys have any topics to contribute or do you have anything to share about this topic. But in general, the topic is about breakfast. So, um, I see Jiawen's comment there. You did mention that you rarely do eat breakfast, which I understand. We're diving straight into the content, which I agree with you. I rarely do eat breakfast, but only at certain points of my life. These days, because I'm working, right, I always eat breakfast, and partly because I am practicing intermittent fasting. So I haven't been very strict about it recently, partly because I think it's the stress. So like every time I had stress at work, I would always end up eating food more often, and I'm really as guilty as I want it to be, because I don't know, when I'm stressed I always end up eating a lot more than usual. So um in terms of like dieting wise, in terms of trying to lose weight, I have been on the fluctuation, so it's not that bad. But I still wish that I can, kind of improve on it. So but these days I've been eating breakfast not because of intermittent fasting. It's because I thought that having breakfast, it's like the great start to a morning. Um, so usually for me, because when I practice intermittent fasting, what I usually do is that I would bring the dinner, which my mom usually cooks, and I would bring it over to the next day for breakfast. And this is something that a lot of people find it very weird, but partly because I've done it for so many days already, and I've been so used to it. So I always tell people that, hey, I'm not eating dinner because my dinner becomes my breakfast. So people, when they hear this, they get be like, what? So how full do you eat exactly for your breakfast? Whatever that I eat for my dinner becomes my breakfast. So for example, like my mom um will cook some rice and some vegetables and some meat, and that will become my breakfast for the next day. And people do get very shocked when I say that, because it is rather big. It is rather huge portion in general, which I don't blame them um for having this conclusion. But at the same time, like it is just for me to kind of have a great breakfast before I head over to work. And also to just have something filling before I have lunch. So I've been living this philosophy where I'm eating like a really heavy breakfast, and then not so heavy lunch, and then I just not eat for dinner. So that has been my uh, routine itself for every day, and I've been enjoying this a lot. But sometimes I do kind of skip it out. I do eat a bit of dinner once in a while, for example, like if my friends are eating with me, or I just feel like eating. So like yesterday I did not bring my dinner over to breakfast, but partly because my mom actually brought KFC. Not sponsored by KFC, but if KFC is listening, if you're a sponsor, feel free to sponsor. I would love to eat your chicken on stream. But my mom actually cook. My mom not cook, as in my mom bought KFC. So we had some KFC, um and it was a two-piece chicken. So I didn't want to leave it for the next day, and I just ate it over for dinner. So that's why. Yeah, I've been doing this for quite some time, and been doing this mostly for the start of this year. So I've been skipping out on dinner, and just to repeat to everybody, I do not eat dinner too much. I usually bring my dinner over to breakfast. So that's the whole idea behind it, and it is to basically practice intermittent fasting, and also like just having a good breakfast before I head out over to work. So I believe in that philosophy. So yeah, my mom cooks a lot, according to Jiawen. Does she? I think she cooks quite a bit. Not gonna lie, but I've been skipping out on the carbs if it's in the morning. So for example, my mom will cook mixed rice. So for example, with rice, some vegetables, some meat, and then the next day I would eat that. But Asians, we have like white rice by itself. So um, I would have some rice that's left over, and then I would determine if I would want to eat how much rice do I want, and sometimes I would just take like one or two scoops of rice, and that's enough. Not because like I don't eat rice, it's because man, I just rather eat the meat and vegetables. I just prefer to eat that more, especially in the morning. Because if I eat too much rice, I feel like it's a bit too um. It can make me feel very full in general. So That's the whole idea behind breakfast. Yeah, so I think I enjoy eating breakfast, like having a heavy breakfast. I think it's a great start of a new day, and I do highly encourage people, if you have the capacity to do it, do have a good breakfast before you head out over to your work or heading out to your school or doing your morning routine. I think it's also like a great energy booster. Um, I do feel like myself. I do feel that when I wake up in the morning, having a breakfast, I do realize that I end up becoming um more looking forward to what's happening ahead of the day, and that's the whole idea behind it. I just enjoy it, and also knowing that I have something so good in the morning. It just feels like it's a great start of the day. And I never really had this thinking when I was younger, I would say. When I was younger, especially during primary school, if I recall correctly, I don't really have this habit of eating breakfast. The habit of eating breakfast only actually came when I was in um, in secondary school. So the reason why like I don't really eat breakfast when I was young is because my mom doesn't really cook breakfast for me. Um, I think I had some breakfast once in a while. Like I would request my mom to get me some breakfast, but I'm like, it's very tedious though to like eat breakfast and stuff. So we just end up not eating breakfast, and partly because like when I was in primary school, um, when you are eating breakfast, right, you still end up eating for recess. So for some context, in if you are listening internationally, um, in in Singapore, you would have primary school and secondary school education, and you would have morning classes all the way to for primary school at least it was until around early afternoon. So for secondary school, it's usually until mid afternoon or until close to evening around 6 p.m., depending on what you're doing. If you have extra curriculum or you have um, after school activities or you're just hanging out in school and stuff like that. But most of the time, when I was in primary school, um, we would still have recess um in the morning. So there's no point for me to eat breakfast because when I eat breakfast like around 6 o'clock or close to 7, I would still end up having breakfast, like the second breakfast during recess. So there's no point eating it in when I was in primary school. But in secondary school, it's a whole different story. I was a growing boy, and then I was like, let's eat, and that's how I become my fat. That's how I became fat. So yeah, um, and yeah, I see you there, Phoebe. Happy May, and I love breakfast. I can't go without breakfast. Mm. So just a simple question of the day. What do you eat for your breakfast usually? I will get to that on my own story later on. But yeah, just feel free to mention what you guys eat and do you guys eat breakfast in general? We'll do a poll later on in the podcast as we are going deeper into this topic. And feel free to contribute, feel free to comment, feel free to say anything you need to say, and I'll just read out the comments as we go along in this Orange Morning Squeeze. And also do inside detour if you're listening in to this Orange Morning podcast, Orange Morning Squeeze podcast. It's basically so-called a bi-weekly podcast as I am accompanying you guys in this morning routine and as well as your morning commute to work. Yeah, gonna jump in and out of the stream because I have something in the moment. No problem, Phoebe. Thank you so much for coming in. Always appreciated to have somebody talking to me. Do you eat orange in in the morning? Oh, that is a very tricky question. I don't eat fruits in the morning. I don't understand. Okay, there's a few things I don't understand. There's a few things I don't understand. Why do you eat desserts for breakfast? So, okay, I know some people, right? Controversial topic, okay? Controversial topic. For me, I don't eat cakes. I don't eat fruits. I don't eat um pancakes, waffles, whatever. Those kind of things. Yeah, for breakfast. I don't believe in that. So, if people ask me, right, oh, let's go and eat some cake in the for breakfast. I'm like, what the heck? Why do you want to eat desserts for breakfast? I just don't understand. Those are what I eat for breakfast. Oh, really? Interesting. So, what do you eat then, Xiaowen, usually? What do you eat actually? So, okay, we're talking about what I eat later on, but I just want to understand from you guys. Ah, McDonald's pancakes. Okay, truth be told, I have not eaten that in a long while. So my go-to order for McDonald's breakfast is actually um what's that thing called? The McMuffin, yes. McMuffin chicken McMuffin with hash brown and my Milo. Actually that's enough for me. Like I rather not eat anything fancy than that. I have not eaten big breakfast in a long while, and partly because I don't like the idea of having something sweet for breakfast. It's very rare that I eat that, and I only eat that when there's leftovers. So I just don't eat cakes, desserts, ice cream, or whatever. Yeah, so it's very rare. It's very rare. I'm more traditional, so I usually eat something that's more savory. Like for example, I do have some biscuits right now, which I'm supposed to be eating while I'm having this podcast. But like I do eat things like this, or I would eat proper meals for breakfast, or like I would just eat like eggs. What else do I eat? I don't know, something similar to that kind, I guess. Yeah, I do have to eat proper cakes for breakfast sometimes. Wait, as in like okay, there are two kinds of cakes. Are you talking about the birthday kind of cakes, like those sweet cakes, or talking about those like those kueh lapis kind of cakes? Because there are two kinds of cakes that I'm referring to. Because if you're eating kueh lapis for cakes, like kueh lapis for cake for breakfast, I can understand. Because I mean, just Asian stuff lah. But if you're eating like sweet cakes, like those bakery kind of cakes, that usually you eat kind of cakes. I don't describe those to be very honest. But if you're eating those, right, I'm just judging you straight away. I don't understand why people would eat that. But I cannot deal with sugar um early in the morning. So like I have my cup of coffee here. Like I don't mind having sugar in my drinks, but just not in my food. So I just can't understand that. But yeah, I do eat like proper breakfast and here and there. So yes, as I was saying, I was talking about my primary school times, and yeah, I just don't eat breakfast when I was at home, and then I would just eat my breakfast in school. So we would have like a recess at around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I can't remember what time was it last time, but yeah, it's around those timing. And I would usually just eat breakfast from there, and then in the afternoon I will come back um for food, or if we have like any extra activities, we will eat our lunch in school. So that's how it works basically. And then in secondary school, because I actually became fat when I was in primary school, and then I think kind of secondary school kind of like fueled that fatness. So I end up eating way more when I was in secondary school. I would end up having close to how many meals do I have back then when I was in secondary school? I think 4 meals a day. Yeah, close to 4 meals a day. So I would eat um early morning breakfast when I come to school early. So like when you come into school, you would come in at around 6:30 and then wait for the go to the canteen. You will just wait out for the stores to open for breakfast. So yeah, I'll usually have my breakfast then. And then for recess, I'll eat my breakfast as well, the second breakfast. And then for lunch, I will also end up eating breakfast. End up eating for lunch, and then I would end up eating a little bit after school, or I would just go back home and eat, depending on the situation. I would say lah. I mean, I always end up eating a lot more than usual when I was in secondary school. That's why like my weight has been going up ever since when I was in primary school. But yeah, I do eat two breakfasts when I was in secondary school. What do I eat in general when I was in secondary school is that I would eat prata, roti prata. So I do enjoy eating it when I was in secondary school. Yeah, roti prata. So back in my secondary school, right, they were very famous for this thing called roti prata. And in case you're wondering what is roti prata, let me Google so I will be politically correct on the description of roti prata because I don't want to get into trouble of what it is. Roti prata or roti canai, also known as, okay, I'm not gonna pronounce that, but it's an Indian flatbread dish that is found in several countries in Southeast Asia. So it's a bit like naan, but it's not like naan. Yeah, so it's not that, but it's somewhat that. So it's like a flatbread. They will cook it up on the on the grill counter, and then they will just put the dough and everything, and they'll end up becoming like a very nice um grilled-ish. I'm bad at explaining this, but it's so nice to eat it, especially in the morning, and I will usually eat that in the morning, during when I was in secondary school. So that's my go-to breakfast dish, and I do enjoy eating that. So yeah. Those biscuits will not taste good for you. Hmm. I mean, it is still a very Asian way of eating breakfast, I would say, which gets to, I mean, it's filling anyway. So one thing that I love to do, right, is that I would love to put it. I'm not doing it because I scare people judging me, but I would love to put those biscuits, dunk it inside in my coffee or my tea or my Milo, just let it sit there, just let it like become soggy, let it let it just drown inside and just break it up, and it'll become like the drink cereal for the biscuits. So for example, the biscuits will disintegrate and you'll become just a cereal inside the drink itself. So like enjoy eating it like that. But people will always judge me, and my mom will be shaking her head every single time she sees me eating like that. And I'll be very honest, like I totally like eating it like that. And people always like wonder why am I destroying a perfectly good breakfast. Not just for biscuits, but I will always end up doing it for cakes. I think cakes is another one that I'll usually do. So like for example, if I have like kueh lapis or something, I'll put it inside and then yeah, just let it become like cake soup or something, a cake coffee soup or something. I don't know. I just enjoy eating it like this. But yeah, it's basically my kind of food itself. Yeah, and also I do like my sandwiches in the morning. So if I do have a chance to eat sandwiches, like I would definitely eat those as well. Very enjoyable to eat. Um, I do like eating that too. So yeah, let me just go and put up a poll. In this um in this stream. Um, I think I'll leave it as a 10 minutes timer. We'll have multiple polls in this stream. Um, do you eat breakfast? Yes or no? Okay, so let's do a poll here where we have 10 minutes on the clock. If you're listening in, I would love to know if you do eat breakfast or not. Um, because I know that there's some people that don't eat breakfast. I know some people do eat breakfast. So if you're listening in, just want to say hello there. Welcome into the stream. And we're just having a simple podcast here. And this is basically to accompany you if you're living in the Southeast Asian region. We are just accompanying you for your morning routines and as well as your morning commute to work. If you are working on the Labor Day, why are you working on Labor Day? But yeah, uh, please go and vote in the poll right now. It's about 10 minutes long right now. Um, the question of the day is, do you eat breakfast? The answer is either yes or no, which we already have one vote for no already. Yeah, so I mean, to be fair, like there is a lot of people who eat breakfast, there are a lot of people who doesn't eat breakfast as well. So, um, which I totally understand if you don't or you do eat breakfast. But I think having breakfast is just a really great way to kind of have a great start at work. So that's how I see breakfast, and yeah, and I think okay, moving on to like a different topic itself. Um, what do you think it's the perfect breakfast item? Um, you know what? As I'm gonna be just talking to you guys, I'll be also googling some stuff and to see different things on my end, and let's see. Um, perfect breakfast food. Let's see. Um, 67 healthy breakfast. Okay, I'm going to read out different breakfast foods, and if anybody resonates with this, feel free to chime in. Feel free to also mention whether do you guys eat breakfast or not. Please do vote in the poll right here. We do have a poll that says whether do you eat breakfast or not. So that's the question of the day, and feel free to vote in that, and I would love to know your answers. Um, this segment of the podcast is basically for me to like look through the different healthy breakfasts that people recommend. It might be skewed towards the Western side, but if I do think of any, I would also do mention as well, and I'll just give my personal reviews on whether that breakfast I will personally eat, and also if there are people in the chat right now, if you do like those kind of foods, do let me know. And what other different foods that you would eat as well. So do feel free to contribute. I'm not scary. Don't need to keep quiet, I guess. Okay, so let's see. I'm in the website right now that has like different kinds of options of foods for breakfast. The first in the list is porridge. Um, Growing up, I love eating porridge in the morning. Be it it's a plain porridge with side dishes, which is the Teochew style, or just eating like the porridge that's cooked down with ingredients. So for example, like my mom loves to cook century egg porridge. I love eating this a lot, so I would eat it. If she cooks it for the morning, wow, that's the perfect um porridge to eat in the morning, I would say. KFC porridge, good. I have not eaten it though. Is it still available? Because if it's still available, I wouldn't mind eating KFC porridge. But I rarely eat fast food for breakfast, by the way, Jiawen. Partly because fast food is like quite expensive in general. I don't know. It's quite expensive. I just don't really eat for like breakfast for fast food wise. I would typically eat my typical hawker center foods because I just believe that those are more cheaper and they taste better, I would say. But if it's better, I wouldn't mind trying it. Seriously. Hawker center porridge, yeah, those kind of the best kinds. But the problem is that those getting more expensive. For example, the one that's nearer to my house, the hawker center itself, um, those porridge are quite expensive already. It's like $4.50 to $5 just for one bowl of porridge. I'm like, I might as well just cook it myself. So I don't really eat that a lot these days. Yeah. But I mean, it's still nice. I still love eating porridge for breakfast. It's definitely a very good choice, in my opinion. Whether you do like eating it as plain, or if you like eating it as like a ingredient based porridge. Um, I do like both of them, but if I were to choose, I would prefer to eat those that is cooked down with ingredients. That is my personal preference, and that's my go-to usually if I do see that as an option. I like to put it with um fried dough, which is called youtiao. I'm not too sure how to say it in English. I think it's the dough fritters or something. Yeah, I like eat it with it for breakfast. Let's see, fruits. Okay. The only exception to that rule is that I would only eat bananas for breakfast. If bananas is in the option, I would give it I'll give it a eat. But I'm like, why do you want to eat fruits for breakfast? So that's my personal takeaway for that. I'm not a huge fan of eating um I'm not a huge fan of eating fruits for breakfast. Just not a huge fan. But I can see why people will want to eat fruits for breakfast because it's healthy, I guess. Wouldn't mind it. Wouldn't mind it. Oh, let's see. Hash browns with poached eggs. Okay, actually eggs. Um, I have a question for people. Um, how do you like your eggs cooked? I think that's a very interesting topic to talk about as well. Early in the morning, I have different eggs option, but I think these days, right, because of hassle free, and I'm too lazy to cook. I'm too lazy to cook, number one, and number two is like I'm too lazy to wash up these days. So I would just boil eggs, and that's the easiest way to doing it. Um, and sometimes like if I'm extra lazy, I would put the egg in the air fryer, just let it become a hard boiled egg or a semi soft soft boiled egg. You might be wondering why would you put it inside an air fryer, but it's a very convenient way of doing it. It's possible you can actually do it in the air fryer. And welcome in, Elise. Welcome in, welcome in. We're doing an orange morning squeeze podcast here, and basically we are just talking about breakfast options. Do you eat breakfast and that kind of stuff? Feel free to vote in the poll. As we're talking about this topic, do you actually eat breakfast, and what do you eat for breakfast? I'm actually kind of curious. What do South Koreans typically eat for breakfast? That's the question that I would ask you. I have coffee if that counts. That counts, but is there anything that is unique to South Koreans that you guys usually eat for breakfast? I'm very curious. I'm very curious. Like, okay, let's just say that if I'm in Korea, what would you bring me for breakfast? Yeah. Um, is there anything special that I should be eating? And by the way, if you're joining in, this is basically a podcast where I would be chatting along with people that is going on their morning commutes and as well as during their morning routines. So it's just basically a very chill session. I'm just like talking, rambling on for the next 1 2 hours, and we will have a topic and we will just talk about it, and we just have you guys coming in, and we'll just chatting around here and there. If people eat breakfast, I think People usually eat cereal, toast, or some rice with simple dishes. Nothing really special. I don't really eat breakfast. Ah, okay. So with that being said, the poll has came in that two people said no, one person said yes. So that one person is like feeling a bit lonely there. But yeah, I can see the sentiments that not a lot of people eat breakfast in this chat, but it's fine. It's fine. Um it is still a important meal of the day, which I personally believe that. I would like to have a filling breakfast before I move on to for the day, I would say. But coffee, I mean coffee, tea also works as a morning breakfast, I would say. I'm not judging you guys, just that yeah lah, I would prefer something more filling than just coffee or tea. I'm gonna actually head off now. Have a great day, everyone. Yes, have a great day, Phoebe, and have a great day ahead, and also a great May as well. So, wow. So Elise did mention a few special things there. Cereal, toast, some rice with simple side dishes. We can go through one by one, and then we will talk about different options there. Um, Cereals. I used to eat it when I was a kid, but I have not eaten it for a very long time. So one thing that I love about cereals is that right, I don't buy like cereal anymore. I would buy cornflakes, like those plain cornflakes. And what I usually do with those cornflakes is that either I will eat it as it is, which is a bit weird for me, but sometimes I'm just too lazy to put like my milk or whatever. I'll just eat it as it is, like a snack, or I'll eat it like a cereal itself. So that means I'll pour the cornflakes or cereal on a bowl, and then I will pour some milk inside. Or don't get disgusted by hearing this because I do that sometimes. I would pour it in my coffee or my tea or my chocolate drink or whatever. So um that's my personal preference on that. Partly because it's like, it's your own breakfast anyway. I'm just gonna eat it as how I want to eat it as it is. So, that's how I would eat it. That's how I would eat cereals. I think cereals and cornflakes are really good snacks, and I do eat it if I do buy it as well. And it's quite a cheap alternative snack as well because like you buy one whole box, right? It's so filling, and like you can just eat it slowly and slowly and slowly throughout the many days that it can last you. So I will put it in a small container and I'll just eat it accordingly from from there throughout the different days I'm lasting. So I enjoy my cereals a lot. I would like to eat it usually in plain. But of course it can get quite dry, so I usually put it with my milk or I put it with my beverage of choice, which is either coffee, tea, or like a chocolate drink itself. I think that works a lot in my opinion. So yeah. Toast. So usually when you eat toast, right? There's like other breakfast option as well. So like scrambled eggs. There's also like sausages and stuff like that. So I used to enjoy eating that a lot. The problem is that, right? It takes a lot to prep that. It's so tedious. For example, like you have to make the bread. Okay, I don't have a toaster at home, so I have to toast the bread on a frying pan. So I will put it in low heat and I will just put the bread on top of a frying pan, just let it toast itself, and then it'll become a toasted bread. Not the most convenient way, but no choice lah. I mean, that's how you do it as an Asian way. That's the cheap way of doing it. Um, then I will have like some sausages, I will cook some scrambled eggs. Then by the time you do all of this, right? Oh gosh, the whole kitchen's in a mess, and then your whole kitchen is oily as well because of you have to pan fry the sausages and you have to cook some scrambled eggs as well or sunny side egg depending on your egg preference. For example, I think Jiawen did mention that she prefers sunny side egg, which I enjoy sunny side egg as well, but I prefer scrambled eggs. Scrambled eggs to me is the best way to start out for mornings. But because I've been so lazy, I just put the egg in the air fryer and call it a day because it's so much easier. And no, let me just answer this simple question. It does not explode in the air fryer. It's actually able to sustain it. It's able to cook the egg itself inside the air fryer itself. So you'll be surprised that there's a lot of different things that works in the air fryer. You just have to try it out. Try it out and see whether it works for you or not. The recipe that I follow is that I think it's about 200 degrees for like 10 minutes or something. So you just leave it inside the air fryer or something for an amount of time, and then it will come out ready. The best part is that you do not need to eyeball the egg cooking process. Just suddenly put it inside the air fryer. Just do your own thing. 10 minutes later, you come back and you're like, oh, my egg is done. And sometimes, most of the time, it will end up becoming quite it will come out quite dry. No, not dry. As in, you'll come out quite cooked. Um, which doesn't really matter for me because I don't mind hard-boiled eggs. But if it comes to the texture of becoming from soft-boiled egg to hard-boiled egg, I think that works as well to me. I have no complaints about it. I think that's delicious as well. So why not? Honestly, why not? And then also Elise did mention some rice with simple side dishes. Like I mentioned in the start of the podcast, I do eat that. So for some context for people who are just joining in, um, I do eat my breakfast for my as I do replace my dinner as my breakfast. Reason being is that I'm practicing intermittent fasting, and I have lost a little bit of weight this year because of that, and partly because I'm exercising as well. Um, and I realized that my body works in a way where if I do end up eating dinner, I would end up gaining weight. So I try my best to avoid um gaining weight by just not eating breakfast, not eating dinner, and then I will transfer whatever that my mom cooks for dinner, and it'll become breakfast instead. And then my mom would be super confused, like, why would you want to do this? Why you want to eat that for your breakfast? But I'm like, I don't eat my dinner. That's my breakfast. So it works anyway. Just that the downside is that you will have a really heavy breakfast, which I personally don't mind. It saves me money anyway, cause I mean I'm working, so when I go out and eat, um, for lunch during my work days, it can get quite expensive eating out. So I will have like a really heavy breakfast, and then in the afternoon I will just have like a simple lunch or something. If I'm hungry, I'll just eat a little bit more, but other than that, I don't eat any more dinner afterwards. The only exception to that rule is that if I'm eating with friends or I just feel like eating because I feel depressed or I feel stressed, I'm like, I need to eat some food. Then I eat some food. So that's how I usually do for in the mornings, I would say, for my breakfast and stuff like that. I mean, it's just a nice way to start out everything. And then people will always ask me like, if you eat rice that your mom cooked last night, don't you feel very full? But I'm like, why not? Like what Elise said, like sometimes people just eat rice with some side dishes. Nothing right or wrong about it. It's just how you deal with it, I guess. And some people eat fast food for breakfast as well. Like some people eat McDonald's, KFC, like KFC porridge or something. Like no judgment there. If you want to eat that for your breakfast, go ahead. Go ahead. If you're feeling fancy, if you like king, if you like eating fast food, and eat it for breakfast, go ahead. I do enjoy like I said just now, I do enjoy eating McDonald's for breakfast. I think that's the thing that I look forward to if I'm eating fast food for breakfast. I enjoy eating the chicken McMuffin from McDonald's. If you're listening in, feel free to sponsor that for my next breakfast. I mean, it's a delicious start to the morning, I would say. Let's see. I'm looking at more I'm looking at more options for breakfast. And some people do eat breakfast bowls, which I have not eaten that before. It looks like a combination of healthy foods and some stuff. Salad. Some people eat salad for breakfast as well, which is interesting. Um, I don't know. I have not seen anybody eating salads for breakfast, and I would love to meet those people who does that. Imagine eating imagine eating a bowl of salad before you start your work or start your day. I'm like, okay, sure. I mean, healthy is healthy, but it just feels a bit sad. You can just get a good breakfast, I'd say, in my opinion. As Uncle Roger say, vegetable tastes like sad. Vegetable tastes like sad. Burritos, tacos. What else is being mentioned here? Um, what else? Breakfast wraps. Have not eaten those for breakfast, but I think that would be very fascinating to try out. Um, for that, I would love to try out such things for breakfast, but I have not had the chance to try it out here and there. I don't know. Oh, so breakfast. Tell me, do you eat fast food a lot? Are you just throwing in all the fast food that you know that you eat for breakfast? Oh, banana breads. I think that's the good breakfast to have as well. You got your carbs, you got your fruits. I wouldn't mind eating that for breakfast. That's actually quite nice. That's actually quite nice. Oh, smoothies. Okay. How about people eating or drinking in that sense? Smoothies or like shakes or like blends early in the morning. I think that's a very good alternative as well. Very interesting. If people do that, if I were to be in my position, I would love to try um drinking some strawberry smoothies before I start out my day. I think it's very satisfying to drink smoothies. The problem is that there isn't really much options out there. If I'm buying from like outside and stuff, and also like I don't really have a blender at home. Um, do I have a blender? I think I have, but I can't remember. But yeah, fruits can be quite expensive, but as well as I don't know the best combination of fruits to have for smoothies. They can be quite interesting to have. Can be quite interesting to have. Let's see. Any more other options that is interesting? Um, as mentioned, people would say drinking coffee or tea. That's also great as well. Which I don't know who is actually interested in that for breakfast. I mean, I would be also. I wouldn't mind drinking coffee or like drinking tea for breakfast and call it a day. To me, that's enough. I'm totally fine with it. Okay, I think that's all mostly just Western stuff. But for like Asian breakfast, like I wouldn't mind eating like noodles. I wouldn't mind eating rice. I wouldn't mind um eating like dim sum. I wouldn't mind eating roti prata as well. I think those kind of dishes are pretty exciting to eat as well. Yeah. Okay, I guess we'll wrap up this podcast. It's a very short one, partly because I think that's all we can talk about breakfast. Of course, if you have any last burning thoughts about having breakfast in the morning, I do think at the end of the day it is a really good option to have in the morning. Um, if you have the time, if you really have the capacity to do it. It does bring a good energy boost for the day. And I personally like it a lot because it will make me feel like I'm looking forward to the day itself. So I end up eating breakfast in the morning if I do have the chance to do it. And I do end up feeling more energized. So do eat breakfast. I think it's an important meal of the day. One, I remember a teacher when I was in primary school or something taught me this, that breakfast you're supposed to eat like a king, and then during lunch you're supposed to eat normally, and then during dinner you're supposed to eat like a peasant. Um, Essentially, what the teacher was trying to say is that don't eat too much for your dinner. Just eat something light and have a good breakfast to start out your day. And that's one thing that I live by. Especially if I have the chance to eat breakfast, I will just eat it. I mean, like, why not, right? Why not just have a good breakfast and then you just feel positive about the next day ahead, and then you have just have something to look forward for the day ahead as well. I think it's partly because like my days are usually more longer than general. Like I would wake up early and then I'll sleep late as well, so I would feel hungry easily because like I have so many things to do in between the day itself, and I would end up having so much things to do anyway. So yeah, like I would just end up having so much to do. I'll just need to eat a lot as well. So yeah. Okay. I think that's it for this edition of the Orange Morning Squeeze. Short topic, but we're just gonna leave it as it is. I'm not ending the stream yet. In fact, I wanted to do like a 12-hour stream today, but at the same time, I was wondering what can I do for the next 12 hours. Okay, let me just get to the just chatting right now. Yeah, just chatting because we're technically done with our podcast, but this is the official screen if I'm actually done with everything. So yeah, um, let's see. We can technically play Supermarket Simulator, which I'm actually quite interested to play that, and I want to kind of move on to as much as we can in that game, and yeah, because I'm actually kind of curious like how far we can move from that. Okay, let me just play a bit of music. Yeah. Yeah, and also like let me finish up the breakfast as we go along in Supermarket Simulator as well. Okay, let me just play up Supermarket Simulator. And also, let